It's official. It has happened. MoneyGram has partnered with Ripple. They're officially going to be using xRapid, which of course utilizes XRP as a bridge currency for cross-border transactions. Absolutely colossal news. This is the only thing I'm going to be talking about today, which might possibly mean a shorter video than normal. I actually wasn't going to record one tonight, but with this news, there's no way that I could not say something tonight. This is absolutely gigantic news again. Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Before we get going here, if you would please delicately tap the like button. You know what? Actually, forget that. I always say delicately tap. This is huge news. Go ahead and smash that like button. Make that like button your little bitch tonight because it's exciting. You can apologize for the bruises that you inflict on it tomorrow, but smash the like button. This is great. And if you would please consider subscribing if you don't hate every word coming out of my mouth. I really appreciate all the support that I'm getting from the XRP community here. Check out the tweet from Brad Garlinghouse. This is where I first saw it on Twitter. An industry-defining milestone. Together, MoneyGram and Ripple are solving the challenges with cross-border payments using the speed and efficiency of XRP. And then he links to a Ripple's Insight piece. And I'm just going to read one paragraph from it here. We already know the partnership happened, and then it kind of outlines some of that in the first paragraph. But the second one states, the partnership with Ripple will focus on the xRapid product, a solution for on-demand liquidity, which reduces reliance on pre-funding by enabling money to be sent from one currency and instantly settled in the destination currency. It leverages XRP, the native digital asset on the XRP ledger, as a real-time bridge between the sending and receiving currencies. XRP remains the most efficient digital asset for settlement, with transaction fees at just fractions of a penny, compared to other digital asset fees of about $30 per transaction. Similarly, the average transaction time for XRP is 2 to 3 seconds, with other top digital assets ranging from 15 minutes to an hour. Right, and so this is going to free up a whole lot of capital for MoneyGram moving forward. They're not going to need to have a bunch of Nostro Vostro accounts all over the frickin' planet. I don't know if they're going to release that capital instantly. Maybe I know the pilot's done. They're officially partnered, but who knows what they're going to do with that initially. Now, we understand that XRP isn't going to just take the place in Nostro Vostro accounts in the sense that, for instance, if a bank is conducting a transaction, it's not that instead of having all of their money in a Nostro account, they're now going to have the same dollar value of money in XRP. No, that's not how it works. That money's free for them, but that does mean that the liquidity does need to be sourced elsewhere. And this is the beautiful thing for banks and financial institutions, remittance companies that do want to move money faster and cheaper. They don't actually even have to hold XRP. And I don't know the specifics have been stated as far as what MoneyGram's doing, but they don't have to do that. There's no need to, so I suspect that they're not going to. But as soon as I get official word on that, I'll be happy to report in the future. So where's it coming from? Now that I don't have to worry about this Nostro account terrible situation, locking up, keeping funds dormant. Well, of course, the liquidity pools are they're exchanges. Exchanges like the Bittrex, I believe they're the official exchange, the xRapid exchange partner with Ripple in the United States, and there's CoinsPH in the Philippines, for example, and then there's what's the other one in Mexico? I think it's called Bitso. That's right. And so all of these, there's a lot of retail speculators buying and selling on these exchanges, and that's what the source of the liquidity is, and that's absolutely fantastic. And so here's the neat thing. As these transactions begin to take place, and I don't know if they're going to just magically roll out 100% of the volume overnight. I don't think that's going to be the case. They're probably going to have an even-keeled rollout over time. But as it happens, understand that that's going to increase volumes, and as volumes increase, typically people are going to see that. They're going to become interested, and you know what? Perhaps one of the neatest things about this, obviously, there's MoneyGram. They're one of two huge remittance companies that are just juggernauts. It's MoneyGram and Western Union, and what this does is it just shows, it really proves that Ripple's technology is here to stay, that xRapid, it's the real deal. Consider that MoneyGram first announced their what's it called, their pilot program with Ripple in January of 2018, so almost a year and a half ago. Here, I'll just pull it up right now. And I remember reading through this, January 11th, 2018. I'm not going to read this piece here. I just pulled it up so that you could see it and see the date there. And I'll link it below in case you do want to read this. But these things don't just happen overnight. That's why it's one of the reasons that I, in my humble opinion, not financial advice, but I just think XRP is a long-term hold. It really should be anyway. I mean, if you want to be a day trader, go ahead and do that. About 95% of day traders lose money anyway, but I'm not going to participate in that. But if that's your shtick, go for it, I guess. Maybe you're good at it. I wouldn't be. I would lose money hand over fist, I'm sure. But regardless here, I think that it's a long-term hold because this is an ecosystem that's going to build over time. And so just because you see extreme volatility and you see the price of XRP dramatically go up and down, at times you've seen that at many instances over the last 5 years, understand that that's because this is nascent technology, a nascent asset class, and then, of course, as it matures, there's going to be substantially less volatility over time. And so, of course, while XRP is being changed in the range of typically pennies outside of bull runs, it's traded within the range of pennies. It used to be traded within a range of tenths of a penny. And I think in the future you're going to be seeing it traded regularly within the realm of dollars instead of pennies, And it'll go to that eventually. And perhaps it'll even get traded at some point into tens of dollars way down the road. I don't know when that would be. Whether it's year 2, 3, 5, 10, not a clue, not predicting. But I think big picture, that's where this is going to ultimately go. And this type of real world adoption is what you need to see to make that actually come to fruition one day. And so to me, it's just absolutely exciting. It's incredibly exciting. Check out this piece from, what was it? Yeah, it's Fortune here. Here's the title. Ripple takes $50 million stake in MoneyGram to push to deploy XRP. All right. And let's see. Under the terms of the deal, Ripple will pay $4.10 a share to acquire an 8% to 10% stake in MoneyGram. This translates into a $30 million investment and also gives MoneyGram the option for another $20 million cash infusion in the next 2 years. For San Francisco-based Ripple, the deal will provide an unprecedented opportunity to make the case that its product called xRapid, which allows for the transfer of XRP, is superior for moving money across borders. Ripple has long argued that banks should use XRP as a form of bridge currency rather than leaving money tied up as collateral in foreign accounts. All right. And so this is kind of fascinating to me. And, I'm a small business owner myself. And funny enough, this topic came up last night in a tweet that I sent out. Somebody was saying that Ripple might be buying MoneyGram or something to that effect, as in like an outright buyout. And somebody responded that wouldn't really make sense because then they'd be at odds with their customers because they'd be selling in direct competition to their customers, right? And I understood that because anytime I pick a wholesaler for my company, if they're selling directly to the end user, which the end user is my customer with my particular business, I'm not too fond of that, and I don't really want to do business with them. This is a little bit different, though, okay? If we're talking about an 8 to 10% stake in MoneyGram. It looks like it's via stocks. It doesn't mean that they have any authority to actually run the company. So in terms of conflict of interest, I'm not seeing any based on this. I have no qualms with this whatsoever. Now, if they were actually running the company, and if I were a different Ripple customer, I'd kind of be like, hey, why are you doing that? Knock it off. I wouldn't really care for that. But I don't see that as a particular problem. Now, consider this also. Let me read another paragraph here. Ripple's investment in MoneyGram comes a year after MoneyGram's rival Western Union ended a trial experiment with xRapid, saying the XRP transfer service had not produced any significant savings. Ripple has also engaged in numerous pilot projects with banks in the past 3 years, but none of these has resulted in a breakout moment for XRP. Now, we got to talk a little bit about Western Union if we're talking about this awesome news with MoneyGram. First of all, is Western Union going to be a customer of Ripple's one day, beyond just piloting the software? Yeah, I don't know, but I would absolutely not be surprised. And I remember when the news came out that Western Union was stating, the savings weren't that much. So, mind you, there were savings. But I remember seeing a video of Brad Garlinghouse. I can't remember where it was, but he's being interviewed, or he was on stage talking somewhere. And he was asked about, okay, what happened with the whole Western Union deal? They were doing the pilot, and they're saying they didn't save the whole lot. And he said, look, Western Union, they're the biggest company in the industry. I think he said it was them or MoneyGram anyway. And he said they've had 100 years to make their treasuries absolutely as efficient as possible, and they've got money all over the world. And so a company that large, maybe the savings, it does make logical sense that the savings wouldn't be as great if they've already achieved as much efficiency as possible, given that they are, like I said, the juggernaut. They're one of the two biggest in remittances, right? And that said, though, so Brad Garlinghouse acknowledged that, but then he said two things, which caught my attention. He said, well, mind you, it took them 100 years to do that, and we achieved the equivalent in 6 months. That's what he said. And he's talking about the time of actually getting xRapid rollout, I believe is what it was. But he said 6 months. I remember that. And I was like, whoa. And then there's another fact, though, and so even if Western Union had such efficient treasuries that they didn't need to utilize xRapid's technology, and again, they did admit there were savings. They just said it wasn't that much, but there were savings. Okay. But even so, they've got dormant capital lying all over the world, so if they would just use xRapid, they'd free up so much capital. And then on top of that, look at this. You see the deal that they just brokered with MoneyGram? With Ripple, they're getting upwards. Okay, so it's $30 million, but there's an option for it to be another $20 million invested, making it $50 million. Western Union, they are a powerhouse, okay? They absolutely could get some sort of sweetheart deal with Ripple. I believe that, and maybe it will happen at some point. I tend to think that Western Union is going to be forced to react at some point, and if their estimates are off at all about how much they're actually saving, well, we're going to find that up sooner than later, I would suspect. But I kind of understood where they were coming from, because look, if you're Ripple, not everybody is going to be a good fit for you as a customer. That's just the truth. Because understand, when it comes to moving money across borders, the small and mid-sized banks are paying to tap into the liquidity that the larger banks have. And I know it sounds backwards, but it's really happening. Here, let me say that again. The smaller and some of the mid-sized banks, they're paying their larger competitors to tap into their liquidity to facilitate cross-border transactions. So, if you're a large bank, like for instance Citibank, you don't really have an incentive to start using xRapid if you're making a boatload of money from your smaller competitors, right? And so for that reason alone right there, not every customer or every bank out there is going to be the right fit for Ripple, at least at this time. Now, of course, once those little customers go away because they start using more efficient technology, such as xRapid, which uses XRP, of course, well, eventually maybe those big banks would be like, okay, this is marginally better for us. We have efficient treasuries, but it is better, and then maybe they would jump on board also. But at this point in time, this is why Ripple's been going after the low-hanging fruit, as I keep saying. There's a reason to all this madness, I promise you. But anyway, to get to the point I was starting to make, with Western Union, I could kind of sympathize with them if they're like, okay, so they did the pilot, even if it's saving a little bit of money, they got their efficient treasuries. Okay, cool. And if the pain point for them was only marginally better, I can understand. They're like, okay, this is an unknown. What's going to happen if we do this? Is the risk worth the reward, given that there hasn't been mass adoption of xRapid at that point when they made that claim? And so I could sympathize a little bit. I don't think that Western Union is some sort of villain for this. I suspect they were probably just being honest, and if that's the case, that's okay. If they're playing some sort of weird hardball game, then that's freaking stupid, then they're just making a stupid business decision. So I don't know which it is, but regardless, this is absolutely fantastic news. I'm excited to see this. And understand again, look here. I pulled up the price of XRP, and what is it? Okay, so it's I saw it at 45 cents before I started the video. So maybe it went up like a little bit. I don't know. You can kind of see here. I'll even click on this just to take a peek here. But I mean, it was already kind of trending upward, especially since Bitcoin had kind of been running, and XRP more or less goes up in tandem with Bitcoin here. So yeah. There's no bull run as a result of this colossal news. It's crazy. Now, if you look at MoneyGram stock, though, I think it more than doubled. I don't have it pulled up here, but I was reading it earlier, and I don't know if it got up to from what was it, $1.50 to almost $4. I don't know, it was something like that. You can Google it if you're curious about the specific numbers, but that did go up. So that tells you how much their stockholders think this is an absolutely fantastic move. So exciting stuff all around here. And look, you know what this is going to do in terms of supply and demand. The more remittances have to take place, the more entities have to hold XRP. And that takes it, not that it takes it out of circulation, it's in circulation because especially if like you're a market maker, you're buying, you're making fees off that, you're selling, you're making fees because of that part of the transaction, and then you buy it back. So the point is more and more is going to be needed to be used as more market makers come online, as more xRapid exchange partners come online. They're going to have to hold more XRP, more individual speculators like you and me if you're an XRP holder. You're going to be buying and selling on there, and we can tap in the liquidity. And when you're buying and selling, the neat thing about it is with xRapid, it's completely automated, and your transaction can be used to fulfill an order, and you'd never even know it. It's just all done in the background. You just know that you're trying to sell your XRP, it was sold, and bam, it could be off into another country to facilitate an xRapid transfer. So it's the cool stuff on the frickin' planet. And again, as far as I'm aware, XRP is the only digital asset to be used in the commercial production of anything. There are other blockchains that are used in commercial production of things, but XRP is the only digital asset to be used in the commercial production of anything. It's the first and only. And I just, man, it could not be more crystal clear to me personally where things are going. And so I just want to share this good news with you and share a few of my initial thoughts on this. I'm sure I'll be talking more about this in the future. My brain's moving like a million miles per hour, so I'm sure there are some other points I wanted to make that just aren't coming to the forefront of my mind because this is just exciting, awesome news. Look, it's okay. I'm an XRP community member too. It's okay to get excited when there's awesome news like this. Just don't let it inform your buying and selling decisions with anything because that would be kind of silly and irresponsible. Don't get excited and buy XRP, not based on emotion. Talk to a financial advisor, or at least calm down first before you do it. That's just my opinion, because I don't want anybody to make a poor decision based on emotion, not on buying and selling. But that said, I think you could buy as much. This is just an opinion. Don't do this, but you could buy as much XRP as you want today. And if you're going to hold it long term, this is a great price. I think this is my humble opinion, and I'm not a financial professional. This is just my regular Joe Schmo opinion. So that's what we got there. Look, I'm sure that you guys are probably really excited about this news as well. Please drop some comments below. I would really love to hear what you think about this. Are you guys surprised that XRP price isn't moving as a result of this, or did you expect that? What do you think's coming next? What do you think about Western Union? Any thoughts on that? Please share it with me. I'd like to get other takes on this as well. But again, that's my initial 2 cents. But we'll be talking about this a lot more in the days to come here. But that's all I got for you now. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.